synesthesia,
complexity, and
peoples all over the
free
world,
of aesthetics, and how that resonates for other people is, some other mystery in the universe.
Feel it, experience it.
I like seeing things. I'm somebody that's very detail oriented. It was a way for me, because I find language an intrusion for the most part, or I didn't like to read as a child, or and had very little reading comprehension as a child, but so I navigated being in the world by attending to what was in my visual realm, and learning and trying to understand what was happening by seeing. So seeing doesn't, perception has many other meanings too, which I wouldn't say I was particularly perceptive, but I learned how to navigate the world through seeing. I used my image in printmaking because when I went to ULAE, Bill Goldston, the chief, he said, just bring yourself. So then I thought, okay, now I'm just going to use myself. And it was in Long Island, outside of New York, so I thought nobody would ever see it anyway. So, somehow like I was doing it away from the eyes and the ears of the law, and, which was ridiculous. But, you're just like, if you use yourself or use another person, it's just a form. One, you have access to yourself, because you're around and you can sit and hold a mirror and try to figure out how to draw a nose. But the other reason, it just is like a stand-in for a person or something. And so it's not, it can be you or it can be another person. I mean, you pick, when you draw people or sculpt people or whatever, or cast them, you have to pick people that somehow you feel like their bodies embody some feeling that you want to access. But yeah, if I make an image of myself, I just still refer to it as her or it or something. I don't mean it in I'm not trying to make autobiographical work. I'm not that interested in that. Technique and craftsmanship can be useful or it can be a hindrance. It's just, everybody, like all artists, have to find their own relationship to those things. I mean, sometimes, you inevitably get better at things over time. If you put time into them, sometimes you never get better. There are certain things I never get any better at, or it's never any easier for me. But I think that a lot of, like, I'm a printmaker, and I think a lot of it is really like being super nerdy, being completely fascinated with techniques and how you can manipulate a surface or manipulate a material kind of endlessly, and then have evidence of what that can do. Work is just, I'm privileged to be able to work doing activities that I'm interested in. And when I'm not interested in them and I'm still doing it, that's work in the pejorative bad sense. Then I'm bored, or then I'm restless, or, but I'm very, I'm mostly very extremely privileged to be able to be attentive in general to things that engage me. Also, doing something, you learn through showing up for something and doing something sometimes, whether you want to or not. But that you can really, to me, that's how you get from one place to another. You have to put in your time and energy into something. Oh, I don't know.
And that
I
stay
don't.
with you.
No,
Can
I
you
don't
think
think
of
about things like that. I don't think as an artist, an artist, you just do what you do because somehow you're compelled or interested or engaged to do something. I think there is one part of it that you very much want to expose it to show, to make some like external proof. But I think one's motivation of making is something very separate and has very little to do with other people. It's really just about self-discovery and about discovering aspects of the material world and how you can manipulate the material world to imbue it with meaning, regardless of what kind of meaning that is. But viewing by other people is another step, a secondary step, or just a very different other part of it, which is important too, because and it's also very playful, like to have an exhibition in a museum. It is about this sort of spatial relationships you're making between objects, and seeing what happens when you do that, like what manipulation of objects in space do, and then whether they resonate for people or not is, a complete mystery. It's not necessary, and also because what you're doing for yourself, it's not particularly evident in the work at all. It's just like your own personal preoccupations or interests or engagement or whims on a given day, and how that resonates for other people is, some other mystery in the universe.